Hello, this is just a short video to show you how to use the new Bing Chat. You may already have tried it out, but maybe you'll learn a couple of things that you weren't aware of. Let's just go straight to bing.com and choose the chat option here. Now, one of the first things I want to point out is the conversation style. It starts with more balanced, and a lot of people never change it. I like to use more creative, mainly because I do a lot of creating of content, and certainly if you want to write a blog post or a letter, an article, then definitely choose more creative. So I'm going to start off by asking it to do something for me. I'm going to ask it to write a short blog post. So write a 200-word blog post on how the universe started. Just see what it says. Now, what Bing is doing here is going off into the internet. It's using your search term to search for websites that might have some of the answers. It's looking through all those websites, it's reading them and using its smarts to understand them, figuring out whether the answers or what those web pages say makes sense for what you've asked, and then it's composing this blog post based on what you've asked it to do. So here it goes, creating this relatively short blog post. And it gives you a list of some of the websites that it's consulted in order to do this. It uses some of its own information as well to kind of augment it. So you can see it's creating this relatively short blog post for you. And one of the nice things you can do, of course, is look at these references that it uses up here, like the number 1 and number 2, or indeed on the links on the bottom, to go to the web page where it got that piece of information from to perhaps get some more context, etc. So pretty simple to use and really useful. You can use it to create blog posts, letters, tweets, Facebook posts, whatever you like. So that's a starting thing that you can do. And I would just say one additional thing is, if you don't like what it's created, you can either ask it to do it again, or you can maybe ask it to emphasize some parts more or take some pieces out, or maybe rewrite it in a slightly easier style. So let's say rewrite for an 8-year-old. So now it'll do it in a simpler language and make it easier to understand. It'll do the same thing again. It'll go off and figure out what to use and then rewrite it. So as you can see, it's already using a much more appealing style for children rather than the slightly formal tone it took before. So you can have lots of fun with this. You can, of course, just ask it questions about the topics that are interesting to you as well. Okay, quite a nice little blog post. Let's see if we can generate a picture. And in fact, even one of the things it's suggesting here is, can you draw a picture of a Big Bang? Now, you can either select this and just get it to do it, or you can type in something you want it to draw, like draw me or create an image of the Milky Way. But let's go with a picture of the Big Bang and see what it comes up with. So it's generating the image now. And there you go. Now, you may or may not like the images it's created. You might want to ask it to redraw them. You can look at them in slightly bigger format here. And then you can download it if you want to. Let's go back. Let's leave this one for now, because what I want to do is show you how you can also use Bing Chat when you're actually surfing the web. So let's go to NASA's site over here. Now, we're looking at this page on NASA's site about the life and death of stars. It's about the solar system. Now, at the top right, we've got this big B here. If I open that up, it opens a little side panel, and you can see it's already given us some takeaways from this page. It's summarized what this page is saying. If you scroll down, you can see that it's not a particularly long page, but it's given you a takeaway on what this page is all about. So now it's coming up with some suggested questions that you might have, but you may want to ask it something else. So let's just scroll down a bit here and look at some of this text. And let's say we're interested in this little piece we can see on the screen. So I'm going to select it. As I select it, watch what happens in the side panel. So I'm going to select this bit of text here. And you can see straight away it recognizes you've selected the text and asks if you want to share it with the chat, which I'll do. It then says, okay, you've got that text from the page. What do you want to do with it? Suggest some things. You might want to explain it, revise it, summarize it, expand it. Let's do expand because it's kind of interesting. What expand does is rewords it for you, but also then goes off to the internet to find some additional information out there that might augment it to give it a longer description of what you have on this page. You can of course drill into it. You can ask it questions about the text, etc. So a really useful way of helping you understand web pages, helping you learn more about the page that you're interested in. Okay, just a matter of interest. At the top here, we've got two other options. So that was chat. We have compose and insights. Let's just go over to insights for now. What this will do is give you some other questions and key points that might be interesting based on this web page. It also gives you some information, some other links, of course, but information about who's created this page. So in this case, about NASA, about the site, the amount of traffic it gets, where that traffic comes from, how the visitor found the page, etc. So it's kind of useful just to give you some more context about the web page you're looking at. And let's look at Compose. Now, Compose is interesting because Compose has nothing to do with this web page we're looking at. It really is just a little front end that makes it easier for you to create content in the way we did before when we asked it to write a short piece on how the universe was created. We could have done that here instead, or we can ask it for something else. So let's say it's suggesting a possible topic for you, the history of the Netherlands, which could be interesting, but let's stick to our space theme and say how the sun was formed. Now we can do it's professional, casual, enthusiastic, informal, informational, or funny. Let's do funny. I don't know how you make fun out of how the sun was formed. Let's give it a go. And obviously, as you can read here, it could be a paragraph, email, blog post, or ideas. You can do a brainstorm. So I'm going to do a blog post. I'm going to make it short just to save time. So you generate the draft, and off it goes, and generates very short, potentially funny blog post for you on how the sun was formed, and then of course you can copy that and use it elsewhere, or indeed you could recreate it. So this bit is really just an easier to use front end to Bing Chat that allows you to create paragraphs, emails, blog posts, or ideas, and just gives you some little parameters for it instead of you having to type a lengthy prompt in. Okay, there's one more thing I want to show you because it's all very well looking at web pages, but what happens if you wanted to look at a document maybe in your hard drive? Now here I have a PDF which I've opened in my browser, in Edge in this case, from a very old 3D modeling tool called Milkshape, which is, I don't know, a good 15 years old, I guess, but it's just an old PDF I had lying around on my drive. So let us have a look at what we can do with that. I'm going to go back to chat. Now I want to get rid of all the stuff we had in here before about the solar system, so I'm going to choose new topic, and notice that this is quite a lengthy book. It's 355 pages of PDF. So what I want to do is get a summary of it, and what I'm going to do is ask Bing Chat to summarize it. Now, the way I make sure that is summarizing what you can see on the screen is referred to this thing called the web page context. The web page context to Bing means the page that is currently showed next to this little sidebar. So I can say summarize, if I can spell it with an S because I'm from the UK, summarize the web page context. And off it goes and looks at this book and then gives you a summary of it, which does relatively quickly actually. And note that it tells you that it's deriving the response from the current web page context, by which it means it's using the PDF that you can see from my local drive to create this very simple summary. So that's great, and it's quite useful to be able to do that. You can do some additional questions here. Indeed, you can interrogate it further. It does a nice combination of the PDF and potentially going off to the web to find out more information to augment it if you want to. Let's just scroll down a bit and just find something that we can ask it a question about. So for example, there's a lot of stuff in here. You can see it's quite a lengthy and quite a detailed book, but let's just see if we can quiz it about something to make certain that it's reading the book and getting its information from the book. So I'm going to say here, using the web page context, explain. So you need to make sure you're telling it to use the web page, not go off somewhere else. So using the web page context, explain how culling works. You can see we've got culling described here. So it'll now go off and have a look at this book and see what culling is all about, and then explain it to you. And of course you can do things like explain it as if it was an 8-year-old reading it and so on. So you can reword it so it isn't just a regurgitating exactly what you see in the manual. You can ask it to do more complicated things, and of course you can ask it questions about it as well. And one of the useful things is when you ask it questions about it, if you want it to, it'll go off to the internet and find additional information just to enrich the answer that it gives you. So that's my very quick run through of Bing Chat. There's loads more actually to it, but this is just touching on a few things that I thought you might find interesting. Hopefully you found the little video of use. Thanks for watching.